listening. Wildcat Radio Coaches Show. Crawford makes the handoff up the middle. He's loose to the 25-20. Carson Crawford 15-10-5. And Carson Crawford runs a little zone read in the middle, takes the handoff, and goes straight up the middle of the Ed White defense for the Wildcat touchdown.
And good evening and welcome to another Monday night Coaches Show here on 97.5 WFBB. Monday night football here, Baker County style, talking all things Baker County Wildcat football for the next hour here on Glen Baptist radio station 97.5 WFBB. Want to thank you for tuning in. As always, our show is sponsored by Dependable Heating and Air Conditioning right here in Baker County, Florida. Over 60 years in business, local family owned. Oscar Gray and his family still run Dependable Heating and Air Conditioning, and I trust them with all my air conditioning needs. You should too, or maybe at least give them a call if you have a need. Mike Cruz here tonight, joined with head coach Kevin Mays, and we're going to talk Wildcat football here for the next hour. And it's been a couple of weeks since we've been on the air, Coach, so good to see you again here on a Monday night.
Yep, good to see you. It's been a little bit, but it's been 2 good weeks.
Yeah, for sure, especially when you throw in the fact that we didn't even have to win the game at Swanee to win the district, right? So you got a little help after the Ed White game. We'll talk about that a little bit, but how's things going? Did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have time off, but I did watch the Florida-Georgia game.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
I know. That's why I said it was tough to say that.
That's a final segment. That's a final segment of the show type conversation. I was meaning, did you get some, I came in tonight staring at a York peppermint patty and an almond joy from my friend John Meadows, who paid attention to what kind of candy I said I liked, and just wondering if you had a chance to do any trick-or-treating. Did you get out there and get some candy this weekend?
No, we went and bought some and sat down on the end of the driveway and gave out to all the little kids coming by. It's fun to see them come around, have a good time with that.
I thought about it way too late, but I found out, there were other places like Live Oak where we were this past weekend. They celebrated Halloween on Saturday night. In McClenny, we celebrated Sunday night. If you'd have been really, ingenious, we could have gone to Live Oak Saturday night, hit them up for a bunch of Snickers, and then come back to McClenny Sunday night.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how we missed that opportunity.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. I was trying to see last night, trying to listen to the kids what the favorite candy is nowadays. I couldn't tell.
I saw something. It's a great conversation because I saw something on the news today. They were talking about the lack of diversity in candy, and I was thinking about that because I looked at my son's bag that he had this morning, and most of it's the same stuff. You've either got Snickers or M&Ms, and maybe you might
Reese's Cup.
Yeah, you might get Reese's, and you might get some Three Musketeers in there, but they were talking about, when I was a kid, you used to get these candies that you only saw at Halloween, like the little caramels with the white stuff orange, in the middle, and
with the orange and black wrappers.
Yeah, just all kind of stuff, and just things that you don't see anymore. So it's always anymore. It's pretty much all the same stuff. If you go to the house that's got the cheap candy, they'll give you like a Dum Dum lollipop, and if you go to the house that's got the chocolate, you're either going to get a Snickers, you're going to get a M&M's packet, you're going to get like a Three Musketeer or something like that, but you don't see those old-timey candies like you used to in the old days.
There was a few years ago, there was a house down the street that always gave out the full-size candy bars. That was my kid's favorite.
That's the one to go to. Yeah, that's the one. You go there and then come back, change your costume, go
figure
back.
Something out, yep.
Yeah, or just take your costume off and go back. My son, I think my son hit the neighborhood twice last night because he put on his outfit one time, and then I saw him walking later with no outfits on. So I think they
hit it up twice.
Yeah, I think at least, but not as many trick-or-treaters this year. I live in a neighborhood where a lot of people always come through, and I bought I think I had like 500 pieces of candy, and I've got at least half of that still at home. So I'm going to have to put that away.
Maybe your son went and turned your light off.
No.
So you could keep it.
No, it was just strange. Like we had a wave that came through like right before dark, and then after dark, it was just sporadic, straggler here, straggler there. But maybe it's because that Sunday night thing, school the next day, something like that. But
I don't know. There was a decent crowd out where we're at.
Yeah, well, did you have a chance this weekend to watch some football? Obviously, you watched that Florida-Georgia game, which we'll talk about.
Just a little bit of it, but
yeah,
no, I don't like I said, we've talked about before a little bit. I didn't watch much of the NFL. I spent Sunday watching. We watched a lot of Baldwin and watched our film from Swanee just to see what we need to fix. Talk to the kids about today, but overall, it was a pretty good weekend. To be honest.
Well, we'll talk about Baldwin in just a little while and some of the things that we'll expect from them. But let's just kind of recap the last couple of weeks because lots happened. Lots happened since I've been on the air here and had a chance to get back on the air Friday night with Jackie over at Live Oak, and it felt good to be there. Live Oak's one of those places that you can see it. A lot of history in that stadium. They've got a nice stadium right there in the center of town, and you got to go back a ways, but the late 80s, the 87 through 90 team, 4 straight state championships in a row there, and had a chance before the game there. I saw Mike Pittman, who was the coach of that team, on the field before the game. So a lot of history, a lot of tradition over there in Live Oak. They try to bring that back some. When Coach Rogers, before he came here, they had a little run. They had a couple of chances to get down toward the state championship game, and now Kyler Hall over there coaching that football team. Live Oak's one of those places. If you think about it, you want to compare places. Live Oak and Baker County, very similar type places to compare.
Yeah.
But a fun town to go to, a fun stadium to go to play in. But good win Friday night. The Wildcats had a chance against Ed White last week to go ahead and win the district. Well, not by virtue of winning the game, but by virtue of some things that happened after the game with other teams playing. But basically you've gone from being a 5-2 team the last time we talked to now being a 7-2 team. An overall undefeated district record for this year, 4-0 in the district with, winning all of our district contests. The only 2 losses on the schedule this year, a 1-point loss to Mandarin and, an 8-point loss to Vieira in a game that was nip and tuck the entire way. So both of those obviously bigger schools, and we've got a couple of wins against some bigger schools too. So, overall, Coach, if you just stopped it for a moment and assessed where you're at right now, 7-2, 4-0 in the district, obviously an automatic playoff berth this year. How would you, is this kind of where you saw things before the year, or do you think that we've overachieved? Do you think you're kind of where you wanted to be, or you feel like we've got some more room to grow?
No, I definitely think we have some more room to grow. I do think we are playing a lot better than we were a month ago. Of course, I'd rather be undefeated. Vieira was a game, where some of my better friends coached on that team, so there was a personal thing with that. And then Mandarin, you go back and look at that game. We were down to 1 yard line, had a chance to win. So those still sting, and the Mandarin game, that game stings, still kind of stings. I mean, because we could have won that one. But overall, when you get into this, your first goal that you write is to be the district champ. So we were able to do that. Ed White was a tough team coming in. I wouldn't be lying if I wasn't nervous about that game, just with the athletes that they had on the field. But I thought both sides of the ball stepped up, played really well against those guys, and for us to win that game 36-16, I was impressed. I was impressed with the way we played and the way we stepped up to the challenge. And then obviously this week we can get a little more into it, but this week I different kind of nervousness because Swanee just worried about them playing their best version against us just because the rivalry, like you said, similar type communities.
Yeah.
But then we also got out of school at 12 o'clock. So, we had to figure out that. We ended up taking the kids to the movies, coming back, and then by the time we got back to school, it was kind of like a regular day. So, and when things change, as far as at least coaches go, we get nervous and scared, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but nervous about that just because their routine has changed. But, the kids both games came out and played really well. I mean, even going back to the Ridgeview game, I've been impressed with how we've played since then, and it makes you feel good working up to the playoffs.
Yeah, and you went through several things there, like you talked about. You had homecoming as part of one of those games, then you had senior night as part of another one, and then this past Friday, early release day. So you actually took the entire team to see a movie?
We did.
At like a movie theater?
Yeah, we got on the bus as soon as school got out, went to the Epic Theater. Told them all to
in Oakley.
Yep. Told them to put their feet up, relax. They all got a little popcorn and a drink, and we watched the movie. Got back on the bus. Got back to school about 3:20, and ate at 3:30, which is about 30 minutes after we normally eat. But the game was at 7:30, so timing-wise, it worked out the same. And it was, I felt better because we were all corralled in the same spot, and we seemed to enjoy the time.
What was the movie?
We watched Venom.
Okay. Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some of the kids hadn't seen it, but it's an entertaining movie. Kept their interest, and like I said, we got back, and pregame meal was there, and we ate, and left us about an hour and 15 minutes for the kids to go down, take care of what they needed to, get ready, and we got on a bus about 5:15.
5:15, so the hour drive over to Live Oak. You're sitting there 6:15 for a 7:30 kickoff. That's about as good of a day as you can have, right? And then go win a football game.
It worked out really well. Because I got in my car at 10 o'clock and drove over to Jacksonville and got Chick-fil-A because I took their lunch away, so I felt I needed to supply them lunch, so I supplied them lunch. It was a busy day.
So how's that work? You call Oakleaf and say, "Hey, I got 80 guys that I want to."
Yep, I had some parents that really helped me with that, and we went over there and really gave us a great deal to rent out the whole movie theater, and we rented it out. And
John Meadows and I are kind of looking at each other because we never get invited to these things. I would have liked to have seen Venom on Friday afternoon with the team, hanging out, but instead I had to ride with Jackie.
I did you wrong there, huh?
No. He's got no comment. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that sounds awesome. I mean, as a high school student, you like I just said, you go through homecoming, you go through senior night, then you get a chance to go with the whole team and watch a Marvel movie. That's, a pretty good deal. And then all they got to do is come back and win the game on the football field that Friday night.
And they did a good job of that.
Oh, absolutely. I got to tell you, I was you mentioned it early, about playing better now than we probably were a month ago, and I got to tell you, there have been a lot of times during this year where we talked about missed opportunities, and what could have been, different things like that. Even in games, such as the Bradford game to start the year, there were. I don't even remember the point total we had, but we could have had 20.
Well, it should have been put away early.
Yeah, we could have had 21 more than we did, And I thought, Friday night we came out, really executed well. The first two times we had the football, score touchdowns. Noah Ray, who I'll break the secret here to the folks listening. Noah Ray is going to join us here on the show in just a little while, but I saw Noah Ray throw a football probably 55 yards in the air and hit J-Mod Ruiz right in stride for an 86-yard touchdown. That kind of play, I don't know if we hit that kind of play, several weeks ago. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But either way, well,
a lot of it too, just to give credit because they don't ever get it.
Yeah.
The offensive line, is doing a lot better, especially at the pass protection side of thing. And we've told them the whole time, if we give Noah time, he'll make the plays. And again, all of it's clicking. I think his play's gotten a lot better. The game has slowed down a little bit for him, and he's, from the offensive line back to Noah, we're playing really well right now.
And I don't give him much credit normally, but Jackie Baker even said that after the touchdown pass that that Noah threw to J-Mod. Jackie commented on the line and the way that they protected on that play. He had time to throw the football, and man, I'd like to go back and see the video of that play because it was beautiful. We don't get that instant replay in high school very much, but then then we kind of toiled around a little bit, some punts back and forth with the two teams, but then
I got one question because this made me laugh.
Yep.
What were you guys saying about me when I went for it on fourth down from the 15?
Oh gosh, I gotta go back and remember. Was that where we got them to jump?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
heard people in the stands yelling at me.
Oh no, I think that we were kind of the same ilk that we expected that
just to get them to jump.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would, but I figured I'd try.
And it worked.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. Well, we did too.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at some of the things, on the defensive side of the ball, we made a couple of those mistakes, but. I was kind of thinking that, and we got them to jump, so it is what it is. Would you have gone for it?
No.
If they don't jump, we're not going.
No, I figured if we did that and put J-Mod in motion, that it might do it. And the funny thing is about timeouts. I'd be curious how many timeouts in a first half that I've left on the table.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, well, I can waste one. Get away with it. See if we can get them to jump. Now we ended up punting anyway, so it was for nothing, but.
Well, And so, we kind of toiled around back and forth between the two teams, going back and forth. The defense, threw a shutout for the first, 3 quarters of the game Friday night, roughly. But then right there before the end of the half, we got the ball back with a couple of minutes to go. And I thought, for a high school football team to execute that 2-minute drill the way that we did there, scoring right before halftime was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I made comments about that to them too. It was good to see it work like that. I mean, we kind of run our offense in a 2-minute offense kind of way anyways, but to be able to go down and do that, and the last play we kind of drew in the sand a little bit, but it worked, and Noah picked the right side to throw it and hit Josh Holmes in the end zone, and to be able to get those points, that was that hurt them a lot for let us score right there.
Yeah, we called the wrong guy on the touchdown. We had to be corrected later, but I got to get an updated roster from you because I had Wilcox. I'm looking at the wrong side. Marcus Wilcox is wearing 20, right?
No, but it was 28. That might have been
28.
Yeah.
Josh Holmes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might just not seen the number right.
I think it was Jackie.
Okay. Yeah.
He's not here.
Yeah.
So anyway, you go into halftime 21-0. The defense is playing like they have played all year. I mean, I know later in the game, Live Oak got some points the other night, made it a 42-21 ball game. But like we talked about, you had some younger guys in late, and really they scored the last touchdown in total garbage time. So I mean,
yeah, and that stuff. I know some of the fans don't like it, but that stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, the clock was running. We weren't in danger of nothing, and let those kids get out there, and they learned something from those reps. Even though they scored, they've learned something. How can I defend it? How can I do that next time? So, we walked away with a win. That the ultimate goal. And like I said, I feel good where we're at right now, and everyone keeps asking me, trying to get. I don't know if you want to get into the playoff scenario yet.
We are. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk to Noah first, and then we'll get into the playoff scenario. I do want to do that, but yeah, I mean, listen, when you're up 42-14 on a team, you've got a running clock, and you're less than 2 minutes to go in a game. They're not going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, you got to think about a couple of different things. You got to think about injuring some of your starters. You got to think about playing time for the younger guys. All those things I know you're thinking about, which, does it really matter if the final's 42-14 or 42-21? The only way it really matters at that point is if you're throwing a shutout versus 42-0 or 42-7.
Yeah.
I mean, 42-14 or 42-21 doesn't matter. You got the win, you moved to 7-2, and you undefeated in the district, right?
Yep.
I'll defend that all day long.
Yep. We actually ordered the district trophy Friday, so it'll be here. So kids will be able to see it. They wanted to see that, so they can put when they come back and say that was my year. We were district champs. So we try to keep that kind of stuff around the school.
Well, congratulations, Coach. If nobody else has told you congratulations yet on district champion, I'm telling you right now, and congratulate the team from the radio crew, because it's exciting to be a part of. And yes, we will talk about playoff scenarios. Jackie and I try to do our best effort Friday night to talk about the points and the RPI system and everything. And West Florida actually has a higher RPI than we have at this point, but because they haven't won their district or won't win their district, we'd still be the number one at this point. But then all that's going to change because our opponent's record is going to change, and then our opponent's record is going to change. So over the next 2 weeks, we have a good chance to come out of the region as the number one seed, but that could change.
It could. I mean, the Reigns, if you look, and I don't know if you want to get into this yet, but if you look at Reigns, they're only 9 thousandths of a point behind us.
Right.
And they played Columbia, whose record isn't great, so it won't change that much. But you can't lose from here on out because you want to be the number one seed because it gives you the easiest road through the playoffs.
That's right. Well, we'll talk about that because I do want to get into, what happens in certain scenarios, and we'll talk about that. But I do want to talk to Noah Ray here pretty quickly. But this Friday night, the Wildcats get a chance to go over to Baldwin, face the Baldwin Indians, and I haven't had a chance in the last week or so to do my research on Baldwin, but they're having a pretty good year, right?
Yeah, if I'm correct, there's something. They're either 6-2 or 7-2.
Yep.
They lost to Andrew Jackson by 1. They lost to Episcopal. And we both played Bradford. They beat Bradford as well. they're a good team with some athletes out there. You know, I've had some people in town, oh, Baldwin, oh, that's a good warm-up. You know, that's a good game before the playoffs. I'm like, no, guys, they're good. They're a good team.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to still have to go out there and play our game and hopefully get a little better than we were last week and, you know, obviously try to keep it rolling going into the playoffs.
Well, and that's the other piece of this is, you know, just like this past Friday night, when you're thinking that you've already won the district, so there's nothing really to play for against Suwannee. Well, what we just talked about with the RPI rankings, every bit of that matters. You know, you got to win the game. You know, you want your RPI points to be at least as good as they were the week before. So you've always in this system, there's always something to play for.
Yeah, there is. Every game counts, which is good, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I still don't think it's fair. You have some teams, you know, take like Union for example. I mean, they're a good team. They've played some good teams, and there's some other teams in 1A that have really good records that really haven't played anybody, but yet those teams are ahead of Union. So I quite haven't figured out what the best way to schedule is, because the wins are more important than anything. It doesn't, like everyone says strength of schedule. Well, you might have a hard schedule, but if those teams' records aren't good, that strength of schedule didn't help you at all.
Well, and what happens if that strength of schedule looks great in the preseason, but then that team tanks?
Yeah, I mean,
they end up 2-8.
You want to play teams that have lots of wins. It doesn't even matter if you play, you know, a very weak team that plays a bunch of other weak teams, but if they all have a bunch of wins somehow, you know, because they're playing each other or whatever, that's how you get the most points. So it's none of us have got it quite figured out yet.
It's hard to get it figured out. I know that between the brain power of Jackie and myself Friday night, we couldn't quite figure it out, but never mind.
Yeah.
That's Jackie and me.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, it's the best thing about the RPI thing is it kind of gives us something to look forward to each week when the points come out. We can kind of see where things are. But the facts are this: we know the Wildcats will finish no worse than district champions, and potentially 1 or 2 in the region, which will set us up for at least a couple of home games in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, again, getting into it, or if you want to hold on, we can talk to Noah for a minute, and then we can get into it, because I can explain it a little better to everybody, but it'll take a little bit. Well,
let's do that in a minute, because we've got an hour-long show, but I do want to talk to Noah Ray. Noah, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
Number 7 on the field, number 7 in the program, but number 1 in everyone's hearts, the quarterback for the Baker County Wildcats, Noah Ray, and also gets out there on defense from time to time, playing in that safety position. But Noah, good win this past Friday night, big win against Suwannee, a win that if I'd have told you before the season that we were going to beat them 42-21, that would have been great. But, you know, knowing that they haven't had quite the year they wanted to, but that's still a pretty good football team that we beat 42-21. So congratulations, and congratulations on being 7-2 so far, and congratulations on the district championship.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's something you'll always remember, being district champion senior year and getting a chance to go to the state playoffs, which I'm looking forward to. And the best part about it, I think, and kind of what Jackie and I were talking about, is maybe, just maybe, we won't have to make that ride all the way out to Pensacola this year, right?
No, we won't.
Yeah, and I know you're going to talk about that more, but the thing that Jackie and I kind of emphasized, you know, with West Florida not winning their district, and you know, you still got Wakulla in the mix somewhat, but yeah, that last couple of years making that drive, or really it's happened now for the past 3 or 4 years, because even back in the state championship year when we had to go out to West Florida to face West Florida Tech, which is the same team we're talking about now. So good year though, man. And I tell you, that game Friday night, Noah, I talked about it already, but you know, I keep going back in my head and watching that play that we threw to J-Mod down the middle. And first of all, he's fast.
Real fast.
And second of all, as Coach said, you know, you had time to get some air under that ball. What do you think you threw that? 55, 60 yards in the air?
Something like that. I'm not sure.
How far can you throw the ball in the air? That's what I want to know.
About 70.
Yeah. So if me and you and Coach Mays go in the parking lot out here, who's throwing further?
Him. My arm will end up half the distance. Unless you got a cannon I don't know about.
I used to. I actually used to be able to throw the ball pretty well, but I cannot. I never could throw it 70 yards. I'm not even trying to front on that. But yeah, that was good. That was good. So later on in the game, zone read, touchdown run, and that felt good too, right?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. It was one of my first runs of the game. Coach was probably trying to keep me a little bit healthy, tweak my knee the game before, but it's definitely getting better every day.
So you feeling good coming down the stretch? We get Baldwin this week, and then guess what? We'll be in the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
I've been talking about this, Noah, all year long with everybody that comes on. We've talked to DeHaven Clark. We've talked to Chase Cruz. We've talked to Blake Mays. We've talked to a number of guys here on the air this year, but it seems like yesterday we were over at Union County for the Kickoff Classic, and the season just kind of flies by, and it's one of those things that I tell people every year when we sit here in the very first or second show of the year. I always say, don't blink because we're going to look up and the season's going to be halfway over. Well, guess what? It's halfway over, and this is the last game of the year. 7-2, we're coming down to the last regular season game of the year. Can you believe how fast the time flies once the season starts?
Yeah, it's definitely flying by really fast, especially being my senior year, trying to take in everything.
Yeah, you got to take pictures, man. Take pictures, enjoy it, because that's what it's for. I mean, we were talking about that with people, people talking about this, talking about that. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this high school football game is about high school kids enjoying their, in your case, senior year, trying to get out there and play football with your classmates. And, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. Has this year been fun for you?
It's been real fun.
Yeah, you can't. 7-2 on the season with a chance to go 8-2 with a win against Baldwin. I mean, that would go down as a very successful year. I know the coach wants to win every single game, as do you, I know. But 8-2 is nothing to sneeze at, right?
Right.
So Noah, talk to us a little bit. What are the things you like to do? What when you're not playing football? Tell us what you like to do when you're out there.
I usually just go to the gym, play some video games, go to church.
What's your video game of choice?
Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. Call of Duty. The acronyms get me. Well, listen, your dad, who's sitting over here on the couch with us, he went to school with me, so he and I are about the same age. He can tell you we didn't have Call of Duty when we were growing up. We had Atari 2600, and I had my favorite game was Pitfall. And you know what happened with Pitfall? Nothing. You moved from screen to screen, and you jumped across alligators and fires and stuff like that. There was nothing like the video games you have now. But yeah, Call of Duty. So there's some action in that game, right?
A little bit.
What else do you like to play?
I like to play Madden a lot.
My kid at home, he's gotten into this off-road thing where you build your trucks and build your four-wheelers and stuff. Have you seen anything like that?
Not really.
It's not really your thing? Yeah. What about you, Coach, on your PlayStation 4?
Don't know. No. Blake's on it a lot. They play that one game where do they build the trucks and play like a soccer game kind of?
I know what you're talking about. I played that with Blake.
Rocket League. Blake plays that.
Maybe.
Blake plays that one a lot, but
could be something like that. He's always asking me for more money for the games. Used to you went to the store and bought video games. Now you just buy them right online and
then
play.
They keep getting it from you.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the negative about PlayStation. You have to go in and add a payment to the wallet, right? So this is my problem. I always forget that I've left my card on there. Not that my son is going to go in there and just spend whatever, but he'll just come in and make it easy on me, and he'll find me when I'm almost asleep. Hey, can I just have $9.99 for this? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, if I don't have to go add my card and do all that, it's already on there. Yeah, go ahead. So then, the next day he spent $9.99 plus $9.99. Yeah. So he might have hit the button twice or something.
Yeah.
But
my bad.
Yeah, but that's a bad thing. So whenever he does buy something, I always the next day I go in there and make sure I get in there and clear my card out so that he just can't be purchasing whatever. But I've heard some real bad stories about that when parents leave their credit card on there and kids do. You wouldn't do anything like that, would you? Know?
Nah.
the safest thing is just to buy the gift card so that you can just load.
Say now they ask for that for Christmas.
Yeah, you just load the gift card amount, and that's all they can spend, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what else, Noah? You like to play video games? You like to go to church? What else is it that you like to do? Talk to us a little bit. You a hunting and fishing kind of guy at all?
Not really.
No.
I don't really go hunting. I go fishing sometimes during the summer, but not usually around this time.
What about watching football on the weekends? Do you have a team that you follow?
Go for the Gators, sadly.
Well, it hasn't always been sad. I can tell you that. And this year it didn't look for a little while like it was going to be sad, but it turned sad. You know, this is. I'm sure Coach Mays talks about this with you at school and in your meetings and stuff like that. When you play teams that you're supposed to be better than, you got to put them away. And the biggest problem I've got with Florida this year is that they played a couple of teams that they were better than that they just didn't. They just didn't show up to compete those days. And the first one was Kentucky, because you can't convince me that Kentucky's better than Florida. They're not. And the second one was LSU. LSU played with like 7 guys who hadn't even played this year before. And there's no reason in the world why Florida should have lost that game. Now, you can give them the Alabama game. You can give them the Georgia game. Georgia was better than Florida. And I have no problem saying that. Alabama was probably better than Florida. On that particular day, Florida could have won that football game. But you can't lose to teams that you're not supposed to lose to. And they did that against Kentucky. I thought he was trying to manage the game. He had 2 minutes to go in the first half and didn't use his timeouts. And then they block a kick later on, get a touchdown on it, and it just got away from him. Right. And unfortunately, you can't coach like that, can you?
No, it was. The thing with them, you almost see some lack of heart from some of the guys.
I agree,
and that's the part that's kind of disheartening. Because if you're, like you said, if you're just getting beat because the guy in front of you is better, you're okay. At least play hard, do what you can. I tell our guys all the time, if you mess up, at least mess up 100%. Mess up, and there's some things that you just don't see effort across the board.
I couldn't agree more. And that's probably the most disappointing thing to me with Florida. We don't have to get off on Florida. I mean, there's been some fun college football this year. I mean, I'm watching games that I normally wouldn't watch. The Big Ten's not some – I don't normally like to watch the Big Ten, but, when Penn State's got a decent team and, some of the other teams in that league, that Michigan State game the other day was
fun to watch.
That was a fantastic ball game.
Yeah.
And who would have thought before the season Michigan State would be sitting here 8-0?
Yeah, no, that guy's done a great job.
Oh, great job. Yeah. So,
You know who I watched a lot this year? And it's a hometown guy plays for him too, Cooper Hodges. But App State has played on every night known to man. So you always catch them on. You always catch them and watch him play. But,
they played on Wednesday night.
Yeah, they play on all kinds of nights. But I've kind of caught them, and they're fun to watch.
And he never leaves the field.
No.
Plays every play. And doing a great job. I tell you, I like watching the App State games and the Troy games and things like that. It's especially when they're on, like on the Thursday night game or know. But if they're, sometimes I'll miss them if they get matched up at a 3:30 type thing like they did this past weekend.
But I think that's what App State's done this year. They raise your hand if you want to play on a Wednesday night, and they shoot theirs up there, so they can be on TV as much as they are.
And they had a real chance to beat Miami early in the year. Probably should have beat Miami. They take down Coastal Carolina, who's top 20, and their other loss, I can't remember who their other loss was to, but they've only got 2 losses on the year. They've been fun to watch, no doubt. And it's always great. Did you see, we talk about these, the college guys now, they have this name, image, and likeness thing where they can get their sponsors. Have you seen who Cooper's sponsor is?
Cookie Company.
Yeah. The Blue Deer Cookies of Boone, North Carolina. So if you go to Cooper's Instagram page, he's on there, and he's one of those guys that doesn't post anything on social media ever. Right. But this year he's posting all the time, and he's always posting about cookies. So it's that whole name, image, and likeness thing.
That's what I told Tyler was home this week. At Ed White week, Tyler was home. We told him he needed to find himself a cookie company or something.
Something. Yeah, it's funny. They had one post that Cooper put out there where he's sitting there with all the offensive linemen at the cookie company, and I'm thinking, if I'm the cookie company, I'm thinking you get some little defensive backs or something. You know, you got all these offensive linemen. They're gonna put you out of business. But that's funny. But yeah. What about the pros? So you like the Gators on college? You watch any pro football at all, Noah?
I'll watch some of the Jags games. I don't really watch any of the other ones. I usually just watch like the 10-minute highlight clips on YouTube.
Well, you can like watch a whole game now on YouTube. That's what my son does. That's the whole attention deficit world that we live in now, and they just want to see the 10-minute clip. Tell me who won.
See the good parts and move on.
Yeah, that's it. And listen, nothing wrong with that because you save a lot of time. But I'm with you. So, Jag games, if you watch some of those, you don't see much football. I got to tell you, they're disappointing. They are disappointing.
Another group that played with no heart this week.
Yeah. You knew it from the first drive of the game, first series of the game yesterday, that they weren't even in it. Man, disappointing. What's disappointing is that, you know, for fans, I mean, I think most of us are probably realistic to the fact that you draft Trevor Lawrence. Well, you know, you're not going to the Super Bowl year one, but at least you're looking at upside, right? So upside. So I think the practical fan is thinking, hey, we get Trevor Lawrence in here, we're going to start to build something, right? Well, this thing has started here and is going this way, right? I think if you're a Jaguar fan, you wanted to at least see it doing this, and then at the end of the season start to do this.
They had a little bump with their one win.
Yeah, well, we're a long way from the end of the season, so don't get me wrong. Things could turn around. But right now, on the line that they're going on, it looks like it's going to be another really down year, whereas I think the optimistic fan would say, hey, we're not going to the playoffs or win the Super Bowl this year, but we're going to see at the end of this year we're going to have some hope for the next couple of years, and I don't see that happening right now. Maybe somebody can tell me
it's going to be a rough one this week.
Oh yeah, well you got the Bills.
They do, yeah. Go see Josh Allen throw the ball, but you know, having Etienne probably hurts too. I mean, that would have been a guy that could have added some stuff out of the backfield and different things.
I talked about this today. You know, DJ Chark's out. You know, their best receiver. Etienne's not playing, which is, you know, that's another guy they drafted high and had some expectation for. But just overall, I mean, that's part of football. You're going to have injuries. I mean, they played a team yesterday that's playing with their backup quarterback that certainly isn't Russell Wilson, and they had no problem winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Geno Smith looked like he belonged there in that game.
He looked like he belonged. And the Seahawks haven't had a great year, but even when you're not having a great year, they've got 4 wins. Mm-hmm. You look at the Jaguars with 1 win, there's just no no upside to the slope. So it's scary. So Noah, talk to us. You're the team leader. You know, you got some things to say to your friends who might be listening tonight as we head down to play Baldwin this week.
I mean, in all the years I've played for Baker in middle school and high school, I've yet to lose to Baldwin, and I want to continue that for Friday.
There you go. I like that. Don't want to lose.
Good to me.
I don't want to lose to anybody, much less Baldwin, right? Even though they're 10 minutes down the road, whatever. But yeah, I'm with you. Love to see a win, go out 8-2 for the regular season, and then see where we land in the playoffs. So I'm wishing you the best of luck, wishing the team the best of luck, and look forward to seeing you on Friday night against the Indians. Did you have something, Coach?
No.
Nothing.
Just moving around.
So I had one other thing that I was going to mention with Noah before we move on to the next thing, but maybe it'll come back to me. Stay with us for just a second.
All right.
If it comes back to me, I'll hit you with it. But, Coach, let's talk about that playoff scenario. So if the season had ended Friday night, the way that Jackie and I looked at it was if the season had ended Friday night, the way we had it figured was that we would have hosted a home game as the number 1 seed and probably played Terry Parker.
That would have been – you guys did a good job.
Okay.
So I explained it to the offense today, and I actually brought the defense in and explained it to them. So everybody listening, if you want to figure out how to look at the playoffs, because the new RPI will probably come out. Usually comes out Wednesday. Probably about 1:30. You go on FHSAA.com, click on sports, click on football, and then hit the RPI. And then when the RPI comes up, you can actually hit 5A. And if you go over the region tab, you can click on region, and it'll put all the region 1 guys there.
That's right.
So.
Right.
Right now, you're right. I think it was West Florida was 1. We were 2. Raines was 3. Maybe Ed White was 4. Wakulla was 4.
Ed White was actually 4, which surprised me.
Ed White was 4. Then Wakulla. Then it went down, I think, maybe Bishop Kenny,
Bishop
Clay,
Kenny was in that top
Terry
7.
Parker, something like that.
That's right.
So I've looked at it enough. So then, the district winners will be seeded 1 through 4, no matter where they're at.
That's right.
So if you look at it that way, we're a district winner. Raines is a district winner. Wakulla's the district winner. And then North Marion won Friday night.
Oh.
So they're the district winner. Now, that's going to hurt some people because they were down a little ways.
That's right. They were.
So they go up to number 4, which would put West Florida, who was 1, down to number 5.
Number 5.
Then I think it was Ed White, Bishop Kenny, and Parker is what – and you guys were right. That's how it would look. Now, Parker lost. Clay lost. I think that's going to take them out. But then the 9 or 10 seed down there was like Yulee, who was – their record's not that great, and their RPI was low. So I don't know. You don't know how it's going to figure out. All I know is Raines is 9,000th of a point behind us, and we've got to, obviously they beat Columbia. We beat Swanee. Columbia's record's a little better than what Swanee's was, so they'll get a little bump there. But then it goes down to the opponent's record, which none of us can figure that out. And then, we play Baldwin, and they actually have to travel to Vero Beach. It's probably a 4-hour drive for them, and Vero Beach, a big 8A school, big place down there. So that'll be a tough game for them. But regardless of how it plays out, if we end up 1 and 2, we would host the first 2 games. If we end up 1, we'd host the first 3 games. Be it everything works out the way we want it to. If they get to the Final Four, they reseed who it is. They reseed them, figure out where that's at, and then obviously state championship, which I still looked online. I still don't even know if they picked a place where that's going to be played yet. I looked today and it said still TBD, so I don't know. But so if you can keep up with all that, but the easiest thing to do is go Wednesday, probably about 2 o'clock, because I think it posts somewhere between 1:30 and 2, and hit that RPI. You can see where we're at, and again, the district winners are us, Raines, Wakulla, and North Marion. We'll be 1 through 4 off our RPI, and then the next 4 will fill in the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, and so if you think about it from a March Madness perspective, 1 would play 8, 2 would play 7, 3 would play 6. So it works down that way, and then the bracket would. That's just for your region bracket. Okay, so you've got the 8 teams in the region, and then once you get out of the region, then you go to the section, and then there's other teams from the other regions. Yeah. Right.
Now the best part about that is what you said earlier. West Florida was not a district winner, which means we will not go to Pensacola.
Right.
Farthest we could end up would be Wakulla if it worked out that way, which isn't as bad.
Nah, nowhere near Pensacola. I mean, that Pensacola drive is dreadful.
Yeah.
But so so out of everything you just said, Jackie and I basically laid that out on Friday night in the game, with the exception of North Marion coming into the fold, because with North Marion coming into the fold, like you said, that moves them up into the top 4 and pushes everybody else down.
Yeah. That
would have been below that. So.
But that takes Parker out. But then Clay actually lost to North Marion, so it just depends. That goes back to opponent's record and opponent's record.
That probably helped.
That
probably helped Clay in the end of things, right? With North Marion winning it. So if it plays out the way that it possibly could, though, our district could still see 3 teams.
I think we definitely will see 3 teams.
Yeah. So you're looking at Ed White. 2 teams that we've beaten, Bishop Kenny and Ed White, would both be in those region playoffs now. Chances of us getting to see one of them would be possible if Bishop Kenny were to fall maybe to a number 8. That could happen.
I think just looking at it, but you never know. I mean, there's too much into it to try to figure out. I think if we stay at 1, we wouldn't see them. I think they're going to end up at 6, 7, or 8, 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Because the RPI scores kind of drop down after that, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, and so like Coach said, you can go check it out after this Wednesday, and then guess what?
Have to do it again. Now, I think if I understand right, I think they're gonna. So Sunday
they'll have
they should put out the brackets and everything, because the one thing FHSA needs to remember with this process, and and their idea is it makes it better because every game counts. But if we were going to Pensacola, I got to find charter buses and all kinds of stuff. I mean,
a lot of work to do.
They don't leave you much time to get ready. And I tried to find a charter bus last week. Well, there were none from Orlando north. And I'm guessing Florida, Georgia, somebody had them all taken up. But if there was something else going on this weekend, I mean, as bad as it was on charter buses, I couldn't imagine driving out there on school buses.
Yeah.
If or West Florida's going to have to come. Right now they're probably going to end up going to North Marion. I mean, that's a little bit of a drive for them.
Yeah, that's worse than coming to Baker County. You
Yeah.
got to go 2 more hours south. So
So
that's tough. That's tough.
You know.
Yeah, well, so the big thing is for us, we're going to check it out Wednesday, see where things fall. Obviously we'd love to be the number 1 seed. Number 1 seed, like you said, you're pretty much guaranteed 3 home games if you win, right?
Yep.
So exciting stuff. But if Terry Parker were to get knocked out of that 8 hole, and then who somebody else would fill it. So we'll know more Wednesday. But that's kind
Wednesday,
of the way things go.
You'll get a little closer look at it, but then again, you're going to have to redo it on Sunday because it just who wins, who loses.
It changes week to week. Yeah.
I mean, take Vieira for example, and I just know this: they play Merritt Island. Well, Merritt Island's 8-1 right now. I don't know why it works out that way, but it's the way that we play. But that 8-1 now will be tallied into our opponent's record, so it'll help us. So
it'll help us.
So you just don't know, where all that plays into it. We just need to take care of our stuff and see where it falls.
And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. You got to go out, beat the team on the field. So I know where I was going with the last thing. So we haven't talked much about Baldwin yet. So Baldwin, we're going to face Baldwin Friday night, 6:30. Now, I know it's not a district game, but like we've been talking about, that game matters, right? So have you had a chance to look at Baldwin on some film at all yet, Noah, to see what they do?
Yeah, today when class, Coach Mays had all the offense in there, just looking at their defense and stuff. Seems like they run sort of a cover 3 with a 6 or 7 man box.
So talk to us in regular man terms on what that means. What are we?
They're going to play 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 4 DBs in a different sense. But I think their main coverage is a cover 3, and which means you got 3 safeties deep. They cover a third of the field each. It'll be a different defensive front than what we've seen this year. We saw it a bunch last year, but we haven't seen it this year with this group. So we spent a bunch of time out there today just talking about, assignment-wise what we do. Because, again, Mondays we just out in helmets, just kind of working through some of the soreness that some of the kids still have and really implementing our game plan. So we went over a bunch of that stuff today. And, you're not 7-2 without having good players. I mean, they have good players.
Sure.
And,
sure.
They're going to play hard, and they're going to want to beat us because they're saying the same things we are. Yeah, hey, they're 10 minutes down the road. This is a big game for us, So hopefully, our guys seem to be in really good spirits today. And, if we can keep that going for the next 2-3 days, then roll east on Friday, ready to win a game.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime Baldwin gets a chance to play the Wildcats, they want to beat us. And historically, they haven't gotten the chance other than in the kickoff classics. And, in the kickoff classics, we play half varsity, half JV. And so this is a real game, real contest, a real chance for them to, put a notch in their belt, so to speak. They've got famous alumni like Mike Rogers down at CBS down there. So I wonder who he's going to be. Who do you think Mike's rooting for this
Bishop
week?
Kenny.
Oh, Bishop Kenny.
No.
Well, he's got family there.
I know.
I can live with the family thing,
Yeah.
but he's
being looked at by Army. They've called me a little bit about trying to figure out the Army stuff. So
he's a good kid, good player, man.
Yeah,
I tell you, I've been having a good time watching Baylor. He's Bishop Kenny, but he's a good player, good kid. But yeah, I'm joking about Mike and the fact that he played for Baldwin. So I'm excited though, get a chance to go over to Baldwin and see what they've got. And when Baldwin's good, and we get a chance to play them, it always seems to be kind of a little bit of a grudge match. You hearing anything on Facebook or anything like that? Nah?
Not yet.
Not yet? Do you get into that kind of stuff?
Not really.
Nah.
they all look at it.
They say the right things,
Yep.
Coach, but they all look at it. I guess if you're it's not lost on me how social media plays such a part in the world nowadays. Believe me, I've seen enough social media in my life, but I try to, at my age now, I just try to avoid it as much as possible. But when you're young, I mean, that's what people do, right? Hey, have you seen, Facegram today?
Yeah, okay. It works out like that. Yeah. I've never seen so many kids, take a picture holding the camera up above their face and taking pictures as you do it any day at school. Just pick a day at school and
Every
they take
day,
them.
right?
Yeah,
That's
they
the
love
thing.
it.
We'll talk about them a little bit on, so we talk about their defense. Now, what are they going to try to do offensively?
They get out there with 3 receivers, use a tight end, and they have 2 quarterbacks. One, I would say, is their primary passer, and one's their athlete that they put back there. They got a couple tall receivers, and they run offense kind of similar to ours, and they're good at what they do, and they stick to what they do. And if you can stop what they do, you're going to have a good chance against them. But they try to chug it down the field and see what happens.
Well, I like the way, anybody that lines up against us, I really like the way our defense has played all year. So I'm counting on Coach Kennedy and the crew to come up with a plan.
Yeah, no, they've done a great job over there. We sit there and talk to those guys, and I'm not taking anything away from but we're lucky on that side of the ball to have 6 or 7 guys that have started for this their third year start, and they've got a lot of football games under their belt, and the experience is paying off. So yeah, they're they say defense wins championships, and I know the game's kind of changed more to an offensive thing, but if you can stop them from scoring, that takes the pressure off everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Noah, I remember now what the question was that I had for you, so don't let me forget it. But, Coach, just a question that came through on the text line a moment ago. Tickets for this Friday. So 6:30 is the kick, but are tickets only online?
So I have not received a message from Baldwin, but if we're going off, I'm fairly certain that Duval is GoFan only.
Oh, GoFan only. So
that would be electronic tickets. If you go on their link, I think Jeremy Height was going to put it out there on Daily Growl. He's done a great job for me with everything.
Yep.
But if you go on gofan.co, look at the Baldwin tickets, and they definitely had an away side and a home side. So obviously make sure you pick the away side. And that's how I would do it. I don't think they're allowed to take cash, but I have not received a message from their school yet.
So, fans, if you're listening in, I know I had one text that came through on the text line. Probably want to go to the GoFan site. Make sure that you secure tickets that way. If the coach hears something from Baldwin in the meantime on something different, we can put something on Daily Growl and let everybody know. But that's probably the case. And the other thing is 6:30 kickoff and limited space. I mean, so Baldwin's not the biggest school or stadium in the world, so there is limited space there, so you probably want to think about getting there early too. I haven't been over there. I shouldn't say that. I haven't. I went over there for a track meet, but I don't remember at that point really just looking at the stadium and stuff. But I've had some people say it's not the biggest place. Well, and it's not the smallest in the world either. Yeah. I'm not making it out to be the smallest, but it's definitely limited in terms of the
by
size.
the time you put the bands in and all that stuff, it cuts down on everything.
Yeah, with the number of people that Baker County likes to take to different places, you got to get there early.
Are you saying everybody should stock up?
Yeah. So let's get back to it. I had a question for you. I remember, so you were playing on the defensive side of the ball. What's more fun to you, coming up and laying the wood to somebody, or throwing the big deep ball and getting the touchdown? Tell me, which one would you prefer?
Definitely offense. Sometimes I didn't even know what I was doing on defense. Never played in my life, and Brock threw me in there when we had some people down.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you knew what you were doing. I'm just asking, does it feel better to make that big hit on somebody or throw the touchdown pass? I mean, if it's me talking, I would, knowing that I never had this chance, but if I had the chance to throw a touchdown pass in a game, that would be what I'd take.
It feels pretty good.
Yeah, for me, I would love that feeling. Now, I had the chance to hit home runs and do some other things, playing baseball. But, I told Coach Bobby Harrison one time, Coach Bobby Harrison was my neighbor growing up, so you don't know who I'm even talking about. But Coach Bobby Harrison used to be the athletic director here for years. His son's name is Greg Harrison, who you probably know as Coach Harrison. But same thing. So Bobby Harrison used to coach the offensive line just like Greg Harrison coached the offensive line. And we would throw the football in Coach Harrison's yard as I was a kid, and I'd say, look at the poise that I've got, Coach. And he'd say, yeah, well, the problem is you're built like an offensive lineman, so you're never going to play quarterback. So he just ruined my dream when I was like 10 years old.
Didn't even give you a chance, huh?
Never got a chance, man. I mean, so, talk about stereotypes.
At that point, we just embraced the bigger guy and just go with it, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, give me a chance. And then later on, I see a guy like Jared Lorenzen playing for Kentucky, and he's like 300 pounds. I'm like, hey, I could, all I needed was a chance.
Yeah.
And but they don't give a the guys that are like you, 6'3". What are you, 6'3"?
6'2".
6'2", 6'3" guys, slender. Those are the ones that are going to get the chance. But it's discrimination, Coach.
It is. You get bunched in as a guy, as a certain look guy, just off your looks.
Yeah, offensive line. You go through a line. Oh, you're on the line. Yeah.
Well, I know you're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
Not to change it. So
I was about to go there.
Who you pulling for?
Well, so if we went into the full long story, I'm not a Braves fan. So I'm a National League East guy, but I'm a Phillies fan. So I'm not a Braves fan. So I'm rooting against the Braves. Now, I'm not an Astros fan either. So to me this is a kind of funny World Series because it's more like National League versus National League because the Astros are a National League baseball team. They just got moved back to the American League when they tried to change things up a few years ago. So it's really for me it doesn't matter. I'd love to see a 7-game series though, because I really like to see it come down to the 7th game of the World Series. So I'm rooting for the Astros to win the next game so that it goes 7, and then from there I really don't care. What about you?
I'm not a big baseball guy, but I would say I'd be pulling for the Braves. And I watched it some last night, and I thought it was over after they hit the grand slam. Thought it was done.
Oh, the Astros came fighting back. Yeah. What about you, Noah? You watch baseball at all?
None. I've never even played baseball in my life.
So you don't even know who we're talking about? Braves, Astros, World Series?
I've seen little posts about it, but I haven't been keeping up with it.
Well, the Astros got on the nerves of everybody from a few years ago winning the World Series.
I don't mean to cut you off before I forget because I always make jokes about this. Guess who Hank's favorite baseball team is?
The Braves.
The Braves,
sure.
yeah.
Hank.
Just like Alabama.
Yeah. Pittsburgh back then.
That's the joke. Hank's rolling with the winner now. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. He's an Alabama fan. Now he's a Braves fan.
We have a group chat on Snapchat with a whole bunch of football players, and they sent an old photo of Hank wearing a Florida hat.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was probably like 2008 when they won the national championship and beat Alabama. So, how soon Hank forgets. No, I saw a picture on the Facegram of Hank a couple days ago wearing his Braves jersey, and I was just laughing. But, if you ask me, Coach, I want to see a 7-game series. So tomorrow I'll root for the Astros to win to get it to 7, and then from there I could care less. I will say this. Inside of the game, I look for players who I really just appreciate the way that they play the game. And the Braves have a couple of those that I really like. And Freddie Freeman, the way that he swings the bat and the way that he carries himself, Freddie Freeman's a guy that I could root for. So, yeah no doubt.
I don't even know what he plays, but
first base for the Braves. He had a big home run.
Bigger guys could play first.
Yeah. Well, I played. I was a first baseman. I was a catcher, first baseman. So anyway, So that's kind of the story there. But it's been fun to watch. I love. There's nothing. I mean, football when it gets colder weather and you start seeing some of these games with snow and stuff. That's awesome. But to me, there's always been nothing better than playoff baseball. Playoff baseball is exciting.
Okay.
Coach is like,
okay.
Well, hey, Noah, you and your dad came down here to the church tonight to get on the air with us, and I just appreciate you guys taking the time out. We really like to, with the coaches show that we have, I want to thank Oscar Gray again and for allowing us to be on the air. Glen Baptist Church over here, WFBB, John Meadows, he takes a lot of time out of his schedule to be here. And but really, one of the things we want to do with the coaches show is just give guys like yourself a chance to come on here and talk with us on Monday night. So we appreciate you taking the time. I wish you nothing but the best of luck Friday night. Go out there and throw another. Let's make it 87 yards this Friday. That 86 was good, though.
Yeah,
86
it was
good. So we've had you go back and look at the plays that we've had for touchdowns this year. What was the interception return?
Well, I don't know. There's some debate about that because Carlos had one that was just as long.
See, I missed. That was a game I had to miss, unfortunately.
Carlos had one that was just as long, and the film angle just kind of debates on whose was the longest. But, we've had 2 95-plus interception returns.
But J-Mod's had a kick return too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had an 86-yard pass play. I mean, just think about the yards we've had in some big plays this year.
Yep.
I mean, my goodness.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been good.
But it's only we got to keep going though for it to count.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep going. We're going to go Friday night to Baldwin and try to get a big win against the Indians, and then we'll go from there with the playoffs. But Noah, like I said, thank you for coming down and joining us.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck this Friday night. If you're watching the Wildcats, that's number 7, Noah Ray. And Coach Mays, best of luck to you this Friday night. Hopefully, I don't guess you'll have time to get a movie in this Friday, but I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about the next adventure that this team gets to go on.
Well, we keep winning. We'll figure something out. But I appreciate your time coming on here with us.
Yeah, man, I've had a great time. So appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great night. Friday night, again, you'll want to go to gofan.com and get gofan.co and get your tickets secured for the game Friday night. Kickoff is at 6:30. So we'll be on the air about 6:20 Friday night from Baldwin High School, and look forward to seeing another Wildcat win. So as always, thanks everyone for joining us, and good night, everybody. Go Wildcats.
97.5, the beacon of Baker County.